Hi there. In this video, which is the third in my series on exiting the mid-career rut, I talk about why it's important to make sure that your journey into senior leadership is a sustainable one, so that you can hold the identity and the responsibilities that come with that senior leader role with more confidence. My name is Aishwarya Rajmohan, and I am an executive coach and speaker supporting women working in majority male industries with building the confidence to take their careers and businesses to the next level. Now, a lot of things come with that senior leader role, and I'm sure you're looking forward to them. Not just the title or the acknowledgement or the recognition of all that you have achieved so far, but perhaps also the development and growth opportunities that are waiting for you. And not to mention the things that I call the first chakra things that are super important, a pay rise, perhaps some perks, and also the raised profile within your company as well as the industry that you work in. And I believe every mid-career woman goes through this at some point where she finds herself finally ready to step up and to take on more responsibility. So it can feel very confronting when your request for promotion into senior leadership is met with a no, because you thought you were ready. Now, it can be very tempting when this happens to blame it on the status quo. And yes, you would not be wrong there, because as I say in all of my videos, the status quo is responsible partly. Because if women's paths to senior leadership were easy, then we would have a much better gender balance in that senior leader level in majority male industries, but we don't. But in this video, I'm going to share something which might surprise you, that I see a completely different picture. Because in addition to what the status quo is doing to create obstacles and barriers for women to get promoted, there is also some resistance in women themselves. Now, where did this come from, and what does it look like? Let's take the case of women who are mothers, firstly. In modern life, with all of the responsibilities that all of us have to deal with, let's not forget how much pressure society puts so much pressure on women who are mothers to handle all of this with grace. And you can imagine how difficult it is for women who are just managing to cope with these added responsibilities. They are not going to look forward to adding more to their plate. So there is some resistance there. Now, there might be women that this doesn't apply to, or there might be women who are not mothers, but I also see some resistance in them as well. Perhaps there is a resistance that comes from not wanting the additional stress or the pressure or the burden that comes of holding bigger teams and bigger projects. That could also be a reason. I've seen that as well in my coaching with women. But what all of this is pointing to is an underlying factor that your ways of working might not be sustainable currently, and you fear adding one more layer on top of that. So your resistance comes from that. And then, even though you might be ready intellectually for the next level, there is something that consciously or subconsciously, or unconsciously rather, in you expresses your resistance, and that sabotages or diminishes your opportunities that come your way for a promotion. So it's very important to address that, because if you're not wholeheartedly in, and I've spoken to many women who say they're in, and when it's time to really step up, they're not really in. They just think they're in, but there is a gap between where they are and where they need to go in order to step into that senior leader role. Now, my Power Pose program for mid-career women is closing for enrollment this week. And if this is where you are in your career, you are ready for the promotion and you are ready to step up, you know it's time for you to step up, then it's also time to step up and invest in yourself and in your expansion, because that expansion needs to happen for you to be able to get to the next level. And it is a process. It's not just, it's not the thing that's one and done, but it is a process of getting there. You know, you need to build your identity, firstly. You need to build systems, structures, and capital that support you in your expansion, that support you in handling those responsibilities. And you need to let go of unhealthy ways of working that are currently holding you back and making any more responsibility seem overwhelming at this point. So rather than unconsciously resisting your development and growth, do something about it is my invitation. Your first step, if you are interested in learning more about the Power Pose program, is to book a call with me. And then that's where we find out if where you are is right for the Power Pose community and the program can really help you achieve the results you seek. So you'll find a link to book a call with me in the description below. And I hope that we have the opportunity to speak because if not now, then when?